Alright, let's do a build update. Why? Because I've got so many little projects that I need to do on this car, I'm putting them off. So let's talk about the car and put off the little projects that I got to do. Alright, so recently I had changed out the SN95 spindles. And that's because I had put on a bump steer, well, I was going to put on a bump steer kit, and I found out that I would have to grind off this tab here and put some ears and whatnot, at least for the one that I purchased. But I had already done a through hole on this hole here, a 5/8 through hole straight, so I had eliminated the taper. So I saw somebody approached me saying that they had some SN95 spindles, and I purchased them, and they work out great. So while that happened, I also put washers here for these 5/8 bolts. I didn't have any washers on either side, so I did that, try to straighten things up, and then I was going to do the steering, finally get the tie rod end a little closer to where it should be, because during the hurricane evacuation both wheels were pointing out and it was hard to get it on the trailer to evacuate the build. And so I was wanting to straighten up the wheels, and that's when I found out that this tie rod is too long, and where a little research showed that I had to trim it off. So I trimmed off the tie rod 3/4 of an inch, and then I also trimmed off the tie rod end 3/4 of an inch for a total of 1.5 inch. Eliminated. Did that on both sides, and now my wheels are straight. I haven't done any sort of alignment other than eyeballing. Let's see, so that was pretty much it for the steering, except for once I was in here I saw on the I put on the extension. I had already had that on there, but there were 2 set screws on the fastener that went onto the extension that I never ran in, so I was glad to find those. And well, I'm glad that I went ahead and did it, because I found those, and it makes me sleep better at night. Alright, so let's see, we did that. I've got fluid in the brake lines, and when I had let's see, when I was doing kind of pumping the pedals, I was finding leaks. One leak was here where I brought together, I had made this line plus the flares, obviously, so it was leaking back here. I had cut off that end, and I put compression fittings on both sides, so this leak is gone. But I had just found that I've got one on the other end of that line that I made, so now I need to take out that line and replace that. You know what? I was touching the wrong line. I found the leak on this line, but did that one just show? Because I made that one as well. So there's more repair I have to do. I have to redo those brake lines, and then I've got one in the back, one leak in the back as well. All right, so this brake line is now shorter than this 3/4 inch tube, so it's not going to hit the body as it had done earlier. Okay, the foot box, the extension is on there on the outside, and on the inside that sunken floor is down 3/4 of an inch. That is now in there permanently, and the front wall is on there permanently, but those are the only 2 walls on this foot box. That I'm going to take off and try to make a little bump out. Just haven't done that yet. This panel right here is also on permanently. And then a couple more of the passenger side panels. The top and the inside panel are both on permanently. The floor is also, so I don't know why I have a Cleco down there. I may have missed a hole. Let's see. Competition dash. This is the layout that I want to have, but I had messed up right here. As you can see, my pilot hole slipped into the second hole, and so it did that scarring before it slipped out. And it turns out that the competition dash is high enough, how I have it, to where the steering will come through, so I didn't really ever need that lower hole. I just wish I had drilled it from the back. It would have saved me kind of having to redo it. Not that I have to redo it, but it's going to drive me nuts. And then there was another, some of a scarring marking over here that I tried to make it go away, and there's a big patch there. So I'm going to redo this competition dash. Also with my 4-inch hole saw, these are awfully loose. They're not loose right now, but they're not fully seated as well, how they should properly be. So the next one I'm going to do a 3.5-inch hole saw and then kind of enlarge it to be able to accommodate those 4-inch gauges. Let's see. Just kind of looking around the build here. A lot of the little things that I need to do, well, I've got a list inside. Nothing's coming to mind while I'm, I was doing this video. All right, here's my pass through. I used a 6-inch hole saw as a radius. All I did was lay it down and mark it. I didn't use the hole saw itself because I can't really control a 6-inch hole saw. And then I came in a little bit, about a 1/4 inch or so, it looks like, from the top, and then also up from the bottom to be able to give this a little lip, so that when that's on there, things from in here will have something to hit. Let's see, and then I put in here also a switch with a light, so I can reach around and turn on a light that's going to be in there. Easier to see on this side, obviously. Let's see, there's a 12-volt supply over there, and then my cubby, I guess what it's called, wall, will be about, along this way. And so I also put a light for the trunk, since it's going to be isolated from the cubby. So here's the trunk. And then my switch is going to be over here. Initially I had put the switch, as you can see, right here, which was right with the roll bar. So I had to move that. This 12-volt supply sticking out, I'm not sure if that's going to be a problem. Right here, I'll just have this tied into the battery. Hot all the time. Oh, let's see, what else? Really need to start the wiring. I guess I don't really need to. I just kind of have that in my mind that that's the point I'm at, and in doing so I'm finding all these things that I guess not have put off, but that I could follow up on before really starting the electrical. So I'm just trying to mount things right now, get them in the places, see if they fit, and so they don't interfere with one another. Alright, so here's my other leak. This is also where I made this flare as well. So I'm going to change out this piece, which only goes down there to the bottom. So that's not going to be bad. Just going to buy a flared piece from the parts store. What else? In here I've got couple things sort of made up. Here's my electrical mess. Here is my turn signal module. This is the Pentastar XP module. I've made up a little USB 12-volt supply panel. This is going to go in the dash. Kind of help support the dash. Well, that's a USB. Going to put in this bus bar here. These are positives, and then these are negatives. So maybe that'll help clean up my wiring. Lots of little test leads, LED bulb I'm going to test with. So I'm just trying to get my electrical pile put in one spot. Just bought this here, crimper, ratcheting crimper, so I apply the correct pressure each time. These are going to be my ground studs that I'm going to have around the car. A couple in the back, a couple in the front, a couple in the cabin. What else? There's a couple other goodies there. This is the competition dash that I'm going to be doing. I sanded this down with 80 and then 180 to try to get a sort of a brushed look. And then it was mentioned by MP Tech he went up to 800 and then did the Scotch pad. So I did a test panel of 320 with the Scotch pad, and you know, I'm not really sure what brushed aluminum looks like, but I'm comfortable with what I've got, and I'm going to spray it with Pour 15 Clear, which was also mentioned today by Carl. I appreciate the comment, Carl, because that shark hide is awfully expensive. I know, just man up, pay for it, blah blah blah. But that's my whole build: man up, pay for it. Everybody knows how the budget goes, right? Let's see. Here's the motor. The motor is still sitting on the stand. Haven't done anything with it. It's 302. I changed the headers around. My T5 is down there. Still haven't done anything with it. Drive shafts, don't have them. So there's, you know, plenty to do. Let's see, here's my to-do list. I put them on the garage door. Y'all can pause and read if you want, but these are all different things I have on my list to do. So I guess that's about it right now. Just an overall summary. The build is going well. I am enjoying the build. The body is at work, and I spend almost every day at work, at least lunch, working on the body. Lots of sanding, lots of dust, but it all stays at work. So it's not bad. Just kind of that thing's got its own issues. I don't know when to stop on applying Rage Gold and all that. But overall, the build is very enjoyable. I think it's when it gets all to these, when you get to all these little items that start adding up, it becomes overwhelming. And especially when for me, I meet a milestone, which was putting brake fluid in the reservoirs, where I'm actually priming the lines. Well, when you find leaks, it's expected, but then when you do, at the same time, it's like, well, now I need to bend those lines again, and you know, it's a little, you get a little blow, but man, I'm learning a lot, and most of the time I enjoy learning a lot. It's when you learn the hard way and it stings a little bit that it's not as enjoyable. The electrical has got my head just about to explode because I'm trying to organize it. Really don't know how to. Edward B. put on a spreadsheet that showed how he did the organization of his electrical, and I really appreciated that. And I'm gonna try to format mine as well, so I can check things off and know the gauge wire and where they go, where they connect, and something to refer to later on as the car is running. If I ever have any problem, I know what wires go where. So I guess that's about it. I guess it's time to stop the overview video and get back to work, huh? See ya.